One of the experiences that we had in the Washoe Club is when you walk in here, you know immediately whether or not the spirits want you in the building. And it's a very physical feeling. And when they don't want you around, you really know. I mean, it just affects your whole body. You start feeling nauseous and lightheaded. And we were in the building one time, and I started getting that feeling, and I just knew we needed to go. We needed to not be here right now. And I looked at Tom, and I said, it's time to go. And we had the voice recorder going at the time, and he had just asked the question, were Chinese people allowed inside this building? And we're walking down the stairs after I told him we needed to go.
Yeah, and like I said, I did ask, were the Chinese allowed in here? And I got to about the third step from the landing, and I felt the pressure in the small of my back. It was a clear push, and I ended up missing the next two steps. Getting to the landing and looking back,
stumbling onto me.
Yeah, stumbling onto Debbie, and turning around looking. Obviously there was nothing there, and like Debbie said, we were recording, and when we played that back, you clearly hear me saying, were the Chinese allowed in here, and then you hear a very clear. Well, it's not real clear because they say it pretty fast, but it's a Chinese spirits.
So we don't know if they were saying, yes, we are here, and we're still here. We're not sure exactly what they meant by that. Another EVP that we got in the building, we were asking questions, and clear as a bell, you hear, help me. Now, one of the stories surrounding the Washoe Club is, one of the stories surrounding the Washoe Club is that there is the spirit of the Shadow Man, or the Dark Man here, and he sort of keeps control of all the other spirits, and some people have had some pretty bad experiences with him, and we don't know if that was one of the spirits trying to reach out to us saying, help me, help me get out of here, help send me on my way, or what it was, but it was a very distinct help me. Some of the other experiences that we've had are objects moving. We've had chairs move to block our way. You've had pebbles and other objects thrown at you.
Things thrown in my direction. Nothing hitting me, but thrown in our direction or toward us. We've had different trigger objects that were manipulated. We had a music box up there. We didn't bring the music box. It was brought in by someone else, and but it would start playing by itself. We were actually up there one time investigating, and we could hear music. And we went back downstairs, and sure enough, it was in the room that we started calling the music room, playing by itself. And nobody had. It was one of those wind-up type music boxes. Nobody had wound it up. Another time, we're in there with a few people investigating, and this music box was not playing. We were using a device called the Frank's box. It uses airwaves to listen and try to communicate. Well, the Frank's box was playing the music that normally would come from that music box. We didn't quite understand how that was possible, but sure enough, it was the same music that was coming out of there, and 2 or 3 people put on the headphones, and they all could hear it. So that was another one that was very unexplainable and great to have.
And there are times, you'll be in the building and doors will close, doors will lock unexplainably on you. You'll hear noises that you can't explain.
Noises constantly.
And it's like, we've seen people get scratches on their backs and on their face. And the spirits, they definitely know when they don't want you here and you're not welcome. They tell you and you feel it.
Yeah, the atmosphere is
and you know not to mess with them. Yeah, you definitely know not to mess with them.
And we always come in with a lot of respect, and we try not to bring a negative vibe into the building.
Well, they do that for us sometimes.
Well, yeah, sometimes it's already there, but we don't try to add to it or to spurn any of that negative energy. So we just try to keep everything going and try to be polite. And we've had some really great experiences. We've had some experiences after negative energy has been brought in there from other groups, but we've been able to squash some of that stuff. But the building in itself is active, is more active than any building in Virginia City.
Hi, my name is Brent Robart. I'm also with Bachelor Belfry Ghost Tours. I'm a tour guide, also a volunteer here at the Washoe Club. Some experiences I've had here include being at the bar one night and seeing a spirit we call a prospector come out from the bar where he hadn't been 2 seconds before. Came walking right by me and right through the doors by the spiral staircase without actually opening the doors. He looked as solid as you and I, walked right by me as if he was going to touch me, looked away, and was gone. Second time, I was up there with Tom in the second floor trying to get EVP at the top of the spiral staircase. When we saw, first of all, an apparition walking right in front of us, I asked Tom if he saw him. He said, yeah, and I see another one right behind him, which we believe to be Shadow Man. It was 2 rooms back. We saw the shadow. Could make out the hands around the door frame. Him looking out. As soon as we'd look, we'd duck back inside. We went back to the room as soon as we got in there. Tom got touched right on the back of his head. Felt like 3 fingers touched him almost to see as if he was real, the same way we were investigating to see if Shadow Man was real. Right after that, the floor would turn black. There was a beam of light across the middle of the floor that would fade, and the beam of light would come back, fade again, come back, the floor would turn as black as night. And eventually we were like, 7 or 8 times, we got to go. This is too much, it was time to go. Other than that, in the building, we get lots of EVP, at least 3 children spirits. I've gotten at least half a dozen different female spirits up there, and then said Shadow Man, who definitely brings out the help me's. I've had 6 help me's in a file that was 3 minutes long up there. That's about it.
What about that noise that we heard when we were up there together? Remember it was almost like a deep screech when we were looking at the Shadow Man?
Yeah. Yep, when we did hear Shadow Man, also that same time we heard kind of like a screech, almost like a woman screaming in the background. Off one room over, it sounded like to the right, and in the other room, we're in the hallway. Also that same time, show how electronic equipment often doesn't work in this building. The spirits will suck the power right out of it. We had a K2 meter going in there. We could see shadows right in front of us, 5 feet in front of us. There looked like at least 2 figures. And the K2 meter would not only flash, the green light was dim, almost like the power had been sucked right out of the battery.
Yeah, and then when we took it out, what happened with the K2? When we got out of the building, the K2
out of
was
the building,
fine.
the K2 was fine.
Yeah.
But it's like people in here. I volunteer here. I usually spend 4 hours a weekend back in the crypt. More often than not, somebody will come in there at least once or twice a day with a camera. And the batteries they had just charged in the motel room on the way down here will die in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
That was me.
What time is it?
I felt like something pushed me.